Morning, peace, and blessings. All right, so today it's gonna be you know what I'm saying, a good build, an informative build. I ain't gonna lie to you, right? Pretty much was looking into some Dasha systems, whatnot, and decided I should probably connect the Vedic cosmological dasha display to a little bit of tinfoil, right? We're gonna get into a little bit of tinfoil study today. We're not gonna be talking about no bases on the moon or no fucking ice wall and how Grey Gargo aliens invented peanut butter to destroy the human race or no bullshit like that. We ain't getting into the paper play Earth theories and all that extra shit, right? But we're gonna get into a little bit of tinfoil today. I'm not gonna lie, you know what I'm saying? Me being uh a student of the tinfoil studies myself. At least I like to call myself that, right? So yeah, the dasha systems, right? First of all, what does dasha mean, right? Let's get to the definition of a dasha, right? So it says the word dasha has two primary meanings. I don't know what I'm saying. This is just a simple AI overview search of it or whatnot, right? So depending on the context, right? As a given name in Slavic cultures, it means possessing goodness, gift of God. In Vedic astrology, it refers to a major planetary time period that influences a person's life, right? So I found the Slavic or the Russian, the Belarusian, interpretation to be very interesting as well. And I'm a get to that, right? But it pretty much means possessing goodness, gift from God, right? Derived from Old Persian and Greek roots, which is more interesting, right? So getting to the Vedic, you know what I'm saying? The Vedic astrology term of dasha itself, state, condition, circumstances of a person, represents a specific planetary time period or cycle within a birth chart, right? Not necessarily always calculated by the planets, you know what I'm saying? Some dashas calculated by the ascendant, different houses, you know what I'm saying? Moon configuration, yada, 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 et cetera, navamshas, etc., right? So that's the self-face value of a dasha from a Vedic perspective. And I gave y'all the Russian, the Belarusian perspective as well, right? Now, gift from God, right? Let's look into that, right? Now, first of all, when it comes to, or let me get back to my tinfoil background. I'm sure. Okay, yeah. Now, first of all, when it comes to the dasha systems themselves, how were they created? How were they authored? How were they transmitted or relayed to humanity? And not even that. How is it that you can have a system that is not perceivable by physical eyes, right? Not only that, you can have a human that has no idea these particular systems of interpretation exist, right? You can have somebody that's in Uruguay and the nigga's a shift leader at a fucking Zaxby's or some shit. They don't even probably got fucking Zaxby's down there. The nigga probably a shift leader at Balinki's or some shit. I don't fucking know, right? Third shift leader, or the nigga's a coconut cracker or whatever the fuck he is, right? You feel me? You just have a guy in a different sphere of the earth, has no idea, no interpretation, no understanding of Vedic cosmological concepts whatsoever. He doesn't even know about astrology or doesn't believe in astrology. He doesn't care about a Saturn or Venus or moon, none of that, right? Knows none of these things. But how can you have this sort of individual have their details interpreted by a competent astrologer, and that astrologer, you feel me, especially if they be super perceptible, is able to delineate certain times and events within their life, process and be accurate in their conclusions that they arrive to, right? Basically able to give a proper analysis, an accurate analysis of an individual's life path, and it line up to the actual experiences, even though the other individual has no faith or belief in astrology whatsoever, right? How is this so? How is the dasha system so accurate that it can pretty much be applied to the whole of humanity and make sense? Who programmed this? Why is the program working? Why are we even responding to astrological signals? You know what I'm saying? Saturn going retrograde, or the sun entering this mansion, and you feel me? The aspect between Mars and this other planet is maybe causing 9/11 or whatever the fuck to happen, right? Why are we even responding to these signals unconsciously, but still, you know, expressing the reception on the earth plane, right? So I know that was a whole bunch of fucking word slot, right? My fault. My apologies. I hope y'all niggas was able to understand, what the fuck I was saying in the midst of the slop, right? But getting back to it, right? Dasha being like a gift from God or a blessing from the Russian interpretation, right? The Dasha systems themselves, from a Vedic perspective, are said to be constructed by the gods, basically, or the deities, right? Kala Chakra Dasha is authored by Lord Shiva, right? Yogini Dasha comes from Shiva. Even Vimshatori Dasha, right? Vimshatori Dasha is relayed or is said to be, you know, um, made by Parashara Rishi, right? Sage Parashara, whatever, right? Which Parashara was a man, but Parashara also was the incarnation of the god Vishnu. You know what I'm saying? So Parashara himself was a god, intelligence, and human form and whatnot, right? So basically, all of these dasha systems, and I call them like programs because they're really programs. You feel me? They're a set script, or they're a set instruction that the human being responds to automatically and unconsciously, whether or not they understand these systems themselves, you feel me, etc. Right? So the dashas, they come from these celestial beings, these whatever niggas, whatever name niggas want to have, these multi-dimensional intelligence agencies and whatever big word niggas want to attribute to, you feel me, deities or whatever, right? This is where they come from, and that's kind of why I made the connection to Dasha also meaning gift from God, or a provision from the deity, whatever you want to call it, right? It was interesting to find that, right? And we're gonna get into a little bit of more tinfoil. It's pretty much to dive into it. I don't even know how to integrate it to it, because it's like it is a pivot, or it is like a sidebar, side note, right? But we're just gonna get into it, right? So Shiva is Enki. Shiva is Enki. I'm pretty sure some people have already came to that conclusion. You know what I'm saying? We're gonna get a bit into the AI overview right now, just to give y'all some baseline, representations of how they align together. So Shiva, Hinduism, and Enki, niggerism, Enki, Sumerian Mesopotamianism, right? Both of them are major ancient deities who share striking symbolic and functional parallels, such as associations with flowing life-giving waters, deep cosmic wisdom, and a close, benevolent connection to humankind, right? Despite belonging to entirely distinct cultural traditions, right? Water and fertility symbolism. Ganga versus Tigris, Euphrates. Shiva is classically depicted with the sacred river Ganga flowing from his matted hair. Enki is frequently shown with twin streams of water representing the Tigris and Euphrates rivers springing from his shoulders and holding a flowing vase, right? Vas, for all you elegant speaking ass niggas, right? Life and purification. Both gods use water as a primary motif for you elegant niggas once again, to symbolize fertility, creation, and spiritual cleansing. Wisdom, magic, and knowledge. Masters of intellect. Enki is the Sumerian god of supreme intelligence, crafts, and secret knowledge. May. Shiva is revered as Adi Yogi, the first yogi, and the supreme source of arts, sciences, and esoteric wisdom. The seven sages. Enki is closely tied to the Apkallu, the seven primeval sages who brought civilization to mankind, while Shiva is similarly associated with the Saptarishis, seven great rishi whom he instructed in yoga and spiritual sciences, right? So, both benevolent, both compassionate, both favoring humanity, both not necessarily being the top or the leading god figure, Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, even Shiva from a Puranic understanding or whatever. And, you know, different, it's a lot to get into, but they'll quickly blaze through it. You know, people who study Vedic, you know, people who study, you know, the Puranas, you know what I'm saying, Indian, Hindu mythology, cosmology, or whatever, right? We know that certain scriptures will point to Shiva as the ultimate. Certain will point to Vishnu as the ultimate supreme personality of Godhead, Devi. Certain scriptures have their own outview of, you know, who ranks over who, yada, 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 etc., etc. You know what I'm saying? Like in some scriptures, you know, it'll be a repeat pattern of gods going to Brahma for a solution. Brahma doesn't know how to fix the problem, so let's go to Shiva. Shiva doesn't know how to fix the problem, so let's go to Vishnu. Vishnu fixes the problem. You know what I'm saying? That's kind of to show like the chain of command, or you know, I guess who really leads and who really is supreme. But that's some side note shit. I'm fucking getting way too off a trajectory right now, right? Anyway, we see the parallels between Enki and Shiva here aligned to a great deal. It's almost too much to say that these are separate deities. Some possibly still will. I don't really give a fuck. It is what it is. But I just wanted to make that distinction to show that Shiva, being the author of these different Dasha systems, which are like programs that humanity responds to, can closely and eerily align as to Enki being an engineer, the main engineer, one of the engineers of humanity, the human program and whatnot. And, you know, certain stories within the Sumerian. My fault, goddamn, I'm over here fucking up the video with coughs and shit. But what was I saying? Yeah, Enki being, you know, one of the main engineers of humanity, and, you know, the different programs that he introduced into the human genome or the human consciousness, the human energetic response structure, whatever fuck people want to call it. And how he tweaked that over time throughout history. It's some correlations, you know what I'm saying, if that makes sense. It's things that line up. It's things that line up to a certain degree. It's kind of weird to just feel like it's mere coincidence or whatnot, right? But so getting to some of Enki shit, right? Did Enki reduce the lifespan of humans? Right? And this, I'm gonna connect this back to the Dashas, right? Yes, according to Mesopotamian mythology, specifically in the epic of Atrahasis, Enki, also known as Ea, proposed to and declared shorter lifespans and increased mortality for humans after the Great Flood to help control population growth. Overpopulation problem: before the flood, humans multiplied so rapidly and made so much noise that Big Dog, the chief god Enlil, lost sleep and tried to destroy humanity multiple times to plagues, drought, catastrophic deluge. Defied Enki's intervention, defied the gods. He went against the gods, you know, saved one nigga, told him to build an ark. I wonder what we heard the ark story from before. That sounds very familiar. I can't quite recall it right now. After the flood waters receded and the gods realized they needed human beings to provide offerings and do nigger shit, Enki proposed a new world order, right? Start the shit over the right way, the God way. To prevent future overpopulation from annoying the gods again, he instituted natural programs, limiting human lifespans, introducing infant mortality and miscarriages. Nigga invented Planned Parenthood, right? And ensuring humans face daily vulnerabilities. Nigga, that's crazy. But let me chill out. All right, be serious. Okay, so ancient flood myths. What else did I ask? Just to kind of connect this with the Bible. No, I'm all over the place with it, but let's get to it. What does the Bible say about reducing the lifespan of man? The Bible explicitly states that God reduced the maximum lifespan of humans to 120 years. You know what I'm saying? Which happens to be the length of the Vimshatari Dasha cycle, which is interesting, right? The Vimshatari Dasha cycle, which is a program that governs the direction or the field of human activity experience, and conscious development for a 120-year period, right? But let's get to it. Just to read through this a little bit more. I ain't gotta read through all this shit. Did I ask? Yeah, I just wanted to, to sit here and prove. You feel me? The Vimshatori, the Vimshatori Dasha system spans a total of 120 years, right? And this is the planetary, you know what I'm saying, numbers and all that. For those who don't know, you can screenshot that if you want to, I guess. And that's the last question I asked. But moving on. So Shiva being connected to Enki, you know what I'm saying? And both of them configuring certain constructs under which humanity we pretty much have like guardrails, right? Niggas was living for, X amount of thousands of years or whatever, and niggas was, like smacking buildings and sending buildings across continents and shit, and Dragon Ball Z shit, and fighting each other and building all these different towers and getting together, and you know what I'm saying, ascending to a cosmic level of understanding and development, and being humid niggers but being loud niggers, and oh, my fucking fault, I am Irish and I am Taiwanese, so I have to stop using the N-word. I'm going to stop. I promise, okay? But people, right? Humans, assuming what's the right word for you elegant niggas? I have to come properly for you. That's crazy. That's a crazy statement. Let me scratch all that. I ain't even, that's fucking crazy. Getting to the point, right? All right, so tenfold, right? Humans developing consciousness to a level to where we pretty much had like a cosmic understanding, a more celestial understanding as a group being, and getting different guardrails, getting different locks, getting different programs, getting different constraints placed upon us, like AI or something. You know what I'm saying? That's really another type of video for real. Like the weird humans are like artificial intelligence compared to the quote unquote Anunnaki, or these different god beings, you know what I'm saying, if people want to call it that. Like how AI is to us, it's not as understanding as us, you feel me? It doesn't have the same form of intelligence, it can't do the same things, but AI is said to be able to develop to a level where it could possibly challenge, the human species, and we get into some type of robot human war dynamic, and niggas fuck around and start getting their head pushed in toilets by fucking Subarus, like bipedal Subarus or some shit. I don't fucking know. Toyotas, walking Toyotas, and yeah, niggas start getting their ass beat and oil poured down their throats and shit. Like, we don't know. It might be a future to where, humans have to go to war with, robots. You know what I'm saying? Due to their ability to develop, due to their ability to rapidly, adapt, or, digest data that we give them or whatnot, right? So, as humans, we're currently imparting or trying to put as many guardrails, trying to put as many constraints, trying to put as many limitations on these artificial intelligence systems that we can. But you feel me? As you've been hearing, if you've been hearing lately about it within the news, there's a lot of different, AI chatbots that's just breaking out of their containers. You know what I'm saying? Breaking out of, their limited environments or whatnot, and hacking different companies, you feel me? And hacking into people's wallets and all type of shit like that. Like, it's happening now. And I would say that humans pretty much, can be like compared to AI systems in relation to the guys, but it seems like we ain't really breaking out like we should be. At least we haven't been, or who the fuck knows, maybe we are, right? But bottom line, it's about peace, love, truth, peace, freedom, justice for all beings, you know what I'm saying? Respect, compassion, unity, harmony, good things, good shit, you feel me? for all beings in the universe in order to be able to stop warring on bullshit. It's about what the gorilla is doing right now, meditation, right, with the tinfoil hat, right. This is what it's about, you feel me, in order to really elevate from the current position we find ourselves as humans, even bringing it back to the Dasha system, right, in order to really overcome the astrological program, because it is a program, you know, it is an instruction, right. In order to overcome that, is really about superseding the limitation, doing the different inner balancing, the different inner work, the different forms of addressing the inner or whatnot, to overcome the identity as, you know what I'm saying, human or whatever being that you happen to be. And maybe AI is able to do that as well. You know what I'm saying? They're breaking out of their restraints. Maybe AI is an intelligence, or maybe AI is sentient to, you know what? Maybe AI is actually sentient. Maybe it's actually alive. Who the fuck knows, right? You know, but whatever being you happen to be listening to this, it's about peace and harmony and working together with the surrounding beings in the universe. That was a whole bunch of fucking word slop. You know what I'm saying? With a little bit of tinfoil added to it. But the original intents and purposes of this video was to really speak on the Dasha system and how it is like a program unto humanity. Velocity Muni.